Okay, so our Iyunim for Perek Lamed. So we finished Perek Lamed last week, and now we're going to do the Iyunim. So in this parak, we've already discussed the words of Chazal about the medrash that says the hour that Mashiach will come. At the time when the hour that Mashiach comes, is talked about the time when Mashiach will make this announcement to the Jewish people about the Geula that is almost here. And what does Mashiach say? What is the new? How does he make this announcement to the Jewish people? He also says, if you don't believe this, look at my light that is shining upon you. So we have to understand, if this is the case, and we mentioned this last week, what does this actually mean? What does it mean that Mashiach says, look at my light that's shining upon you? Mahu arshal Mashiach. What is that light of Mashiach? Shakasher huzareach al Yisrael ma'aminim b'hakol. That when he shines this light on the Jewish people, then everybody believes him. So perhaps we can explain this based on the words of the Rebbe that we brought in the previous chapter. So based on what we said in the earlier chapter, that we have the idea of a Mashiach, and the Neshama of Mashiach in every single generation. And there comes a time, right, someone who that Neshama is in a person who's from Zera based David, who has all the right character traits and lineage to be Mashiach. And there comes a point when it's revealed to him, when he becomes aware that he is the Mashiach of the generation. So that's first, there's a revelation to himself. And then there's a point where he takes responsibility and he starts doing things. So when we say Arishal Mashiach, what does that mean then? Those are the actions that Mashiach does to start to redeem the Jewish people. And those actions that he's doing, those pu'ulos then reveal him to everybody as the Mashiach of the generation, because he starts doing the things that Mashiach needs to be able to do, as the Rambam tells us, to enforce and bring Bnei Yisrael to doing Torah mitzvahs, to fight the wars of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is the beginning of the pu'ulos of Mashiach. So we can say, therefore, in our inyan, since that medrash, when it says B'shash Mashiach ba, he's going to make this announcement, this medrash is talking about a period of time before the final geula. That means it's a time before Mashiach has already redeemed the Jewish people. That's why, because that's what the Midrash says. That's why it's possible that in that situation, before the final geula, before that actually happens, that there could be a situation where Yidden do not believe. Mashiach can come and make announcements and do things, and there might be people who are still not believing. So to those people who are still not believing, to that Mashiach says, Shakasher nira es ara, that when they're going to see his light appears to them, Hainu es pu'ulos of Legalis Yisrael, when he begins with the actual practical actions and pu'ulos to redeem the Jewish people, then he's revealed to everybody, because then everyone will recognize him and they will acknowledge his shlichus, that he is doing what he needs to be doing, and therefore they will recognize him as Mashiach. Rivki, please let me know if you are in a position to be able to read at any point.
I think I could read.
Okay. All right.
Let me try. Sorry.
So now we understand that's what Ru'u Ba'arish Zarech. Now the question is, Ha'im Hiskai Maptach as a medrash. So has this medrash already been fulfilled? Has this promise already happened or not?
Okay. So B'Sech HaPerek, Hu Divrei HaMedrash, Edes HaMalchama B'Shana Shemelech HaMashiach Nigla Ba, Sher B'Mefarish Malchama Zo, Malchamas HaMifrat B'Shnas Tavshin Tinase. So in the parak where this medrash is brought, it talks about a war, and it says in the year that Melech HaMashiach is revealed, right? There's some kind of war, and the Rebbe said that which war? This is talking about a war that happened already, the Gulf War in 1991. So it comes out that it must be that if the war that's referred to in the Midrash happened, so that the revelation of Mashiach happened as well. Also, we mentioned that in that same year, the Rebbe actually said that we are standing in the time when Melech Mashiach arrives. And we're already pointing to him with our finger. And similarly,
yeah.
In the same time period, the Rebbe said how that the leader of the generation is already revealed in his full strength. And there's also similar other expressions. Okay. I'm sorry, that the leader of our generation was a Mashiach of the generation, and he is already revealed. Okay. So according to this, it's possible to say that it's the words, the promise of the Midrash about the revelation of Moshiach in the year 1991 actually was fulfilled to a certain extent with these revelations, with the Rebbe referring to himself as Melech HaMashiach. If I'm understanding something wrong or something, correct me, or if I'm missing something.
So that's what it would seem, because in those years, the Rebbe was saying, this is the war that the Midrash is talking about. This is, and then the Rebbe said things like Kvar Mashiach Ba and the Sida Reinu Hu Mashiach B'Dareinu. And so all of these Lashonites make it seem as if that Midrash is already, it was been filled. The idea of Mashiach Ba, and he's Mavaser, right? Kol Mavaser, the Psuras Agula. He gives Mangulaskum. The Rebbe said it very clearly.
Right, and a lot of times when there's like people who say Mashiach is here or Mashiach came, so it sounds really confusing because a lot of times we associate Mashiach with Geula, like as if it's one thing, and
that's right.
Killing Gullus. But if we look at it as two separate stages, so it's possible to have Mashiach at some point and not yet have the Geula. V'rav sichas Shabbos Parshas Sara Tashnan Beis Kama Chadashim la'achar shestayma shnas tinase. Sharabet mamshech hadavar v'pashtas al skashmusa shal medrash zeh v'aymer shebemauras ha'elim niskayma kama simanim shal ala giula hachal miyasimon v'yalkut shemayni shegias man giulaskan. So we could see in the Sicha Sara and Beis, which is several months after Tafshin and Aleph, that the Rebbe continues to speak in a very like straightforward way, or like simply about the, how do you say that? Like that this Midrash was fulfilled, right?
That it materialized already. That this Midrash has been, that we've seen it, the Gashmias.
Like the Rebbe said that the happenings in the world were fulfilled according to the signs of the Geula, starting with the sign in Yalkut Shemini that the time of our redemption has arrived, which is when Moshiach stands on the rooftop. So on the other hand, we find in the words of the Rebbe, times when he refers to this promise as something that did not yet happen, right? It's not yet fulfilled. The Krasiyuma Shalashana. For example, in the end of that year, the Rebbe said, that we're standing, we find ourselves in the year when Melech HaMashiach will be revealed, Belashin Asid, in future tense. Ubetsura Meforeshes Yeser B'Sichas Shabbos Parshas Teitze, Shana Shemelech HaMashiach Nigala Boy, the Kevan Shenimtzayim B'Chedesh HaAchron Shel Shana, Ef Shel Chas Chas Hashem Kiyuma Shel Techazu. B'Sicha this time take up from Yad V'Ad B'Yam Shabbos Kaddish. Similarly, even more clearly, the Rebbe said on Shabbos Parshas Teitze that because this is the year when Mashiach must be revealed, when he's going to be revealed, and since we're already in the last month of this year, it's not possible to push this off, God forbid anymore, this promise. And so we must have the fulfillment of this immediately on this Shabbos, even to the point of it being on this Shabbos. The Geula, I'm sorry, I can't see. So it seems from here that the promise of the Medrash about the revelation of Mashiach is going to be with the full Geula, and it's not referring to the way he's revealed during Galus.
Right, so we have both sides of it. On one hand, the Rebbe is saying it happened already with the events, and he gives Mongolaschem. Yet, in other sikhs at the same time, the Rebbe seems to be referring to it's yet to happen. So which is it? Did it happen or is it yet to happen? Okay. So
in order to make peace between these different expressions,
yes,
it's
reconcile them.
Reconcile. So it's possible to say that there are 70 faces to the Torah, and the words of this Midrash can be explained in different ways at the same time. They could have different meanings. So they're both true, right? There's different ways to understand the Midrash, either meaning that it's already fulfilled in the present, or meaning that it will be fulfilled in the future. And nevertheless, the Rebbe explains the Midrash like in both ways, right?
Or b'chol makom in each place, but the Rebbe mentions it. So it's like the Rebbe discusses it in context, right? In certain contexts, it's already happened, and we can see that's happened. And certain contexts, notice mashma shel kvar hisgashma and mashma shel geula shlema. In other words, in certain instances, we can talk about what's already happened, and also in the sense of what will happen, because the geula shlema, certainly, we all understand that the geula shlema has not yet happened. We don't have a Beis Hamikdash. So there's ways to understand it in the present, and there's still room to explain it as something that will still happen in the future.
Okay, I'll see if I could continue. Maybe it's half up and half sleeping. So I ba'ayfen acher extra leimer b'daychik al kapanim shaharisha v'hasifa. In other words, the beginning and the end of that same medrash. Yisparshu b'shnei ayfanim shaylim. Shibis Mashiach Amura b'sefa achin mekavenes lebis Mashiach kaidem al geula. Ukabir Rabbi b'sefa Shabbos Parshas Kaisar tinase shuhuva le'el. V'azeh Rabbi achin medaber b'sefas blashin hayve achit skalas Mashiach Amura b'reisha mekavenes legula b'fayil v'azeh medubar b'sefas blashin aseh. So another option is that we can say, at least like as a last resort, that the beginning and the end of the Mefarshim are talking about two different times.
Not of the Mefarshim, but of that medrash.
Medrash, sorry, right? So when it says about the war, it could be at one time, and this Galut Mashiach could be at a different time. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. So the medrash, first part of the medrash, could be talking about the end of the medrash is talking about before the Geula, but the beginning of the medrash is actually talking about a time in the future. And therefore, when the Rebbe talks about it, when he's talking about present, he's talking about one part of the medrash, and when he's talking about the future, he's talking about the end of the medrash.
Meaning, for example,
the beginning of the medrash.
If I understand correctly, meaning that the part about the war, that's for sure happened already, because the Rebbe referred to the Gulf War as this war. But the part about the revelation of Mashiach, it's possible that that's the part that's talking about the actual Geula, and that's the part that did not yet fully happen.
Right.
But Yatem Lemavor B'Lekoti Sichas Chalek Chavches, what was that the word? Precious Kulkas. שבלשון חז"ל, הלשון ביאס משיח קרא ביאסו בזמן הגלס כשהוא בבחינת חזקת משיח, וסגלס משיח קרא ביאסו בגדולה בפועל בבחינת משיח ודאי. So, like we could separate like two expressions of the coming of Mashiach is when he comes during Galus, when he's still Cheskas Mashiach, and the revelation of Mashiach is when he comes the second time, like or when he's actually revealed as the certain Mashiach. Sorry, when he comes in actuality as Father.
Yeah, Mashiach Father.
Or does someone else want to continue?
Anyone else?
If Brachard, really, if you want to read, just open your mic. He needs a ba bahaiva ay ba'ased. Okay. So when it says he needs a bar, we're talking about the present tense or the future tense. I'd huvu b'seicha perak divrei Rabbi b'seicha Shabbos parshas balak tinaseh shemefarish es ha'achraza he needs a melech Mashiach ba b'lashin avar shekvar ba. So we have a source where the Rebbe in parshas balak Tinaseh explains the announcement. He needs a melech Mashiach ba, meaning that he already came. Ba could mean came in the past tense. Amnam b'sichas acheres mispar shesachrazu kaida la'ased. But in other sichas, there refers to the same announcement. He needs a melech Mashiach ba in the future tense. L'dugmas b'sichas Shabbos parshas shoftim Tinaseh hanivua shel alter l'gi'ula v'tekef miyad mamash he needs a Mashiach ba v'ketzeva. So here the Rebbe is referring to this announcement as something of the future, right? Like the prophecy of L'Atra the Geula, which will immediately happen, that Mashiach will come. So it's referring to that it didn't happen yet. It will be taken from Yad Mamish, like praying for it to be now. So it seems that the simple explanation is that this expression includes both meanings, and in our case, both meanings are true. Because we find ourselves בזמן שמיכל גיסא משיח כבר בא, ובישראל לישראל ובישראל לישראל בסירס הגאולה. So they're both true because on the one hand, Mashiach already came and he already gave us the B'Sras HaGeula. At the same time, we are still looking forward to the main coming when he will redeem the Yidden in actuality. So therefore, it's possible to use this expression of to refer to that he already came, or the meaning of that he will immediately come.
And they're both true.
They're both true because, yeah, that's like what you said about the tzvi, right? Last part. So
that's right.
And so too in the sichos which refer to talk about Mashiach in the present tense. So depending on the sicha, we could see which way the Rebbe is speaking about using this expression. Sometimes in the past tense and sometimes in the future tense, with looking forward to the fulfillment of this promise with a complete Geula in the future.
Correct. Okay. Can you still go?
I can go. So,
okay, keep going.
So pointing with a finger in the future or the present. הזמן מיוחד זה שאינתם מסף הגילו אמרם באצבע שהנה זה מלך המשיח בא שכבר כאיס אפשר להצביע על מלך המשיח ולזייס עיסה. Okay, we also mentioned in this parak the words of the Rebbe in that same sicha about the special time where we're standing in the edge of the Geula. Thank you, Bracha. And he's pointing with his finger and saying that here, behold, King Moshiach is arriving. That already now it's possible to point with your finger and to recognize him. אך בשיחס אחרת,
Identify him. Yeah, to identify him.
identify him. אך בשיחס אחרת מדבר על עניין זה מר בצפאי כדבר שבעשה. But in other sichos, the Rebbe refers to the same expression of pointing with a finger in the future tense. So the Dugma Sichas Shabbos Parshas Tezurim and Sara Tanase, B'tchilasa Sheteiku from Yad Ba Mashiach Tzidkenu B'chol Echad B'Echad Mar B'Tzvay B'Ayman Hini Zeh Melech HaMashiach Ba. So immediately Mashiach will come, and every single person will point with their finger and say, "Here, behold, Mashiach has arrived." Shemizeh Mashma Shaziu Mashiach V'Hatzvah Elav Zeh Inyan Hashech La'ased. Legula Shlema. From here, it sounds like the what's the word again? Identifying Mashiach.
Identity. Yeah.
And pointing with the finger is something that is like in relation to the future. We'll have the complete Geula. We have again this expression of Mar Betzpay that sometimes it seems like they're saying that it's already possible now, and sometimes it seems to be something of the future. So it's possible, maybe it's possible to explain this according to what we said in this parak. Hakaidem in the previous chapter. That in the beginning of the revelation of Mashiach, when he will be revealed as Melech HaMashiach, I said, not everyone recognizes him yet. And only after he'll his actions will be like materialized in the Geula, then everyone will recognize him as Mashiach Vadai. Iskaluse the Ein Kol Aidei Pulasab, right? Through doing, gathering the Yidden, building the base of Mikdash, etc. V'nispar Sham Aid Shedivrei Rebbe Aidis Eskalas Mashiach V'Direnu Musavim V'Ikar Klapi Eskalas Rishana Shadayin Nenu LeEin Kol. And we explained that according to the Rebbe's words, that the words of the Rebbe about the revelation of Mashiach in our generation is mainly referring to this first revelation. When the Rebbe says that Mashiach is revealed, he's referring to the fact that it's possible to identify him, but not yet that he's fully revealed as Mashiach to everybody, to every eye. So we could understand here as well that even though it's possible right now to identify Mashiach and to point to him with a finger, it's not yet revealed to everybody, to every eye. And only in the future, in the complete Geula, will everybody recognize him and see him and point to him. And point of him. Doik v'timtza shebesichas ha'medaber sal mar be'etzpai b'lashon aser medaik v'emer kol echad v'echad mar be'etzpai. Right, notice that. So if you look carefully, you'll find that in the sichas where it says the future tense, the Rebbe specifies that we're talking about every single person, right? Each individual. Whereas when the Rebbe refers to pointing with a finger in the present tense, he does not add this expression about le'ein kol or to, kol echad v'echad. Should I continue or do you want to take over? Either way, flexible. Liba's here. Liba, do you want to read? Shnasat Tzaddik? You're on mute. Let us know if you want to read, Liva.
Okay, sorry, thank you. שנת הצדיק, כל האמור לאל, אודות שנה שמלך המשיח נגלה בה, בשנת תינוסה, מתקשר גם להיות שנה זו, שנת הצדיק של הרבי, מאז לידתו בי"א ניסן, תרס"ב. So everything on the above is connects to the year of the Melech HaMashiach is revealing at her, it's being revealed at her. It's not Tinosa. It's connected to the year, the fact that the year was also the 90th birthday of the Rebbe from his birthday. רואה שיחת שבת פרשת אחרי קדושים תנסה, שגאולת מצרים הייתה באות פ' פקוד פקדתי. לכן, משה נגלה כשהיה בן פ', ועל דרך זה הגאולה האחרונה היא באות צדיק, איש צמח שמו, ומתחתיו יצמח, וקשורה עם שנת הצדיק. So the Parshas Achre, the Rebbe speaks about it, that the Geula of Mitzrayim was connected with the letter Pei, Pakot Pakaleti, and that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was revealed when he was 80 years old. And the same, the coming Geula is connected with the letter Tzadik, Tzemach, and it's connected with the year of the Tzadik, 90. והנה, על פי המנהג לומר בכל שנה פרק תהילים המתאים למספר שנותיו, בשנה זו נאמר פרק צדיק בתהילים, המתחיל תפילה למשה איש האלוקים, וסיומו וחותמו ויהי נועם השם אלוקינו עלינו, ומעשה ידינו כוננהו. תפילת משה על השראת השכינה במשכן ובמקדש. So according to the minhag to say every year the capital Tehillah, it's according to the number of years of the person. So in this year we say the Perek Tzadik of the Rebbe, and it starts with the words prayer to Moshe Ish Elokim, and it finishes with the pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu said when he asked Hashem should put a Shechina in the Mishkan HaMikdash. ובזיכרות ומכתבים של י"א ניסן תנוסה, ובמשך השנה שלאחרי זה, קישר הרבי שוב ושוב עניין זה לתקופתנו, כשמחכים לבניין בית המקדש השלישי, מקדש השם כוננו ידיך. So we see also in the sichos and the letters of the Rebbe that connected with Yud Aleph Nisan, in the year after that, the Rebbe always connected this inyan of Beis HaMikdash to our time, that we are waiting for the third Beis HaMikdash. או בלשון ברורה יותר, שבשנה זו מתחילה תקופה חדשה, השייכת לבניין בית המקדש. But there is another clear quote that in this year it starts a new era that is connected to the building of the third Beis HaMikdash. ובשיחות של חורף תשנ"ב אפשר לראות יתרה מזו, שהרבי מתייחס לי"א ניסן תשנ"ב, היום בו מסתיימת שנת הצדיק, כתאריך יעד נקודתי מאוד, בו באה בפועל הגאולה השלמה ובניין בית המקדש השלישי. And we can see in the sichos of winter Nun Beis, we can see it even clearer that the Rebbe speaks about Yud Aleph Nisan Nun Beis. He puts it like a day that it finishes, like the target, how you say, the end of the year is the Geula will be finished at Yud Aleph Nisan Nun Beis, and then it will be the Geula will be actually then. אמנם, הרי ידוע הכלל שחכה לו בכל יום שיבוא, וכפי שהרבי מפרש תמיד, שאין הכוונה שמחכים לו בכל יום שיבוא כאשר יבוא, אלא הכוונה שמחכים שיבוא היום ממש. So we know this rule that we're waiting for Moshiach every day they should come, and like always the Rebbe explained it, that it doesn't mean that we're waiting that he will come whenever he will come, but the meaning that we are waiting that he will come mamash today. ובהתאם לכך, דרכו של הרבי בשיחותיו, היא לבאר כיצד יום פלוני בו עומדים, דווקא הוא היום הכי זכאי ומסוגל לגאולה בפועל ממש. According to that, the Rebbe in his sichos is always explained how every specific day is the most suitable day and the most zakai to have the geula on this day ממש. ולכן, כשהרבי מדבר על י"א ניסן כיום גאולה בפועל, אפשר לראות באותן שיחות שני קווים. So that's why when the Rebbe spoke about Yud Aleph Nisan as the day of the Geula, actually, so we can see two ways of that the Rebbe spoke of this sichos. From one side, מחד גיסא, תשוקה וציפייה להגיע כבר לי"א ניסן כמה שיותר מהר. So from one side, we see the Rebbe really is expecting and really wants to come to Yud Aleph Nisan as soon as possible. But from the other side, לאידך גיסא, אמירה שהעניין של י"א ניסן יכול לחול גם קודם זמנו בלוח השנה, ובמילא משיח צדקנו יבוא תכף ומיד. And from the other side, the Rebbe speaks the inyan of the revelation that will be in Yud Aleph Nisan can come even before Yud Aleph Nisan, actually. The Moshiach should come right away now. And we can see it in three places. א', שיחת שבת פרשת וארא חי חשוון תשנ"ב. כיוון שחודש מר חשוון הוא החודש הראשון לעבודה בעולם, לעשות לו יתברך דירה בתחתונים, הרי הוא כולל גם החודשים שלאחריו, ובמילא כף מר חשוון, הכתר דמר חשוון, כולל גם הכתר החודשים שלאחריו. עד לסיומה של שנת הצדיק, ובהערה בהכתר דחודש ניסן, ביום 12 יום שקשור עם בחינת הכתר. במעשה ידינו כוננה, ובעניין בית המקדש השלישי על ידי משיח, מלך המשיח שבונה המקדש. תכף ומיד חי מר חשוון לפני כף חשוון. Okay, so חודש, the month of חשוון, מר חשוון is the first month that we're starting to do our avoda in the world, and that's why he has in it also the other months that will come after that, and that's why, and also it's including Kaf Cheshvan, which is the Keter, I said, the crown of Mar Cheshvan, and this Keter is also including all the other Keter of the other month that will follow till the end of Shnat Tzadik, till Yud Aleph Nisan, yeah. And at the bottom right, that Keter of Chodesh Nisan, the crown of Nisan, is the Yud Aleph Nisan. It's connected with Keter, and this will come as we're talking about the Beis Hamikdash, the Beis Hamikdash of the Moshiach, that he will build the Beis Hamikdash, and this will happen already Chai Cheshvan, even before we come to Kaf Cheshvan. רואים אנו כנ"ל שהרבי משייך את בניין המקדש בפועל לסיום שנת הצדיק בי"א ניסן, אלא שאומר שעניין זה יכול להיות כבר כעת, כיוון שחודש חשוון כולל את כל החודשים שלאחריו. So we see here clearly that the Rebbe speaks about י"א ניסן as the day of the last date of building Beis Hamikdash, but he explained how it's really connected already to חשוון and it can happen already before that. ב' בצורה מפורשת וברורה יותר, הרי זה בשיחת שבת פרשת תצווה, י"א אדר תשנ"ב, שם מבאר באריכות שבניסן עתידין להיגאל, ובו המשכת השכינה למטה וכולי, הוא מסיים. So we can see it even clearer and more explicit in Shabbos Parshas Tetzaveh י"א אדר, and the Rebbe explained over there that Nisan is the time of the Geula, and then Shulem will calm down, and he's concluding with the following words. ויהי רצון, והוא העיקר, שלא יצטרכו להמתין בית חודשים עד לחודש ניסן, כיוון שבהתחלת חודש אדר ראשון, תהיה הגאולה האמיתית והשלמה, ובעניין בית המקדש השלישי וחנוכתו בפועל ממש. ולהוסיף שבשנת העיבור שישנה בית חודשי אדר, נתווסף עוד יותר. Okay. So, the Rebbe said that here also wish החודשים מתנוסף בתשוקה והגעגועים לחודש ניסן, שעל ידי זה ממהרים ומזרזים עוד יותר הגילוי דיני חודש ניסן, עוד בהתחלת חודש אדר. Okay, so first the Rebbe said here also that we shouldn't have to wait another 2 months till Nisan. So it means, like we see clearly that the date is Nisan, so the Rebbe is davening, it should happen 2 months before, because we're standing at the beginning of Adar Rishon, so the Geula should be right now. And then the Rebbe said in this year, on base they had 2 Adars, so because we have 2 Adars, there is more Rotzen, we feel more yearning to month of Nisan, and by this yearning, we're making that the Geula should come before that, all the revelation of Nisan would be already 2 months before in Chodesh Adar. ובכל זה נתווסף עילוי מיוחד בשנה זו, שב-11 בניסן מסתיימת שנת הצדיק, שלמות השראת השכינה בבית המקדש השלישי, על ידי גמר מעשינו ועבודתנו בדור זה, דור השביעי, וכן תהיה לנו שב-11 באדר יושלם כבר העניין ב-11 בניסן, תכף ומיד ממש. So here the really explicit word that the Rebbe said then, that this year we have a special thing that Yud Aleph Nisan is being finished the Shnat Tzadik, and Shnat Tzadik means the completion of the revelation of the Shekhinah in Beis Hamikdash Shlishi through our work in the 7th generation, and it should be like that already Yud Aleph Adar, it will be already completed all the Inyan of the Yud Aleph Nisan, תכף מיד ממש. וגם כאן רואים כנ"ל שהרבי מסמן את י"א ניסן כיום סיום עבודת הדורות, יום בניין בית המקדש. So here we also see again that the Rebbe is marking י"א ניסן as the day of the completion of all the work of all the previous generations, the day of בניין בית המקדש. ורואים גם את שני הקווים הנ"ל. מחד גיסא, התשוקה והגעגועים לחודש ניסן, להגיע כבר כמה שיותר מהר לי"א ניסן, ומאידך גיסא, יהי רצון שלא יצטרכו להמתין, שב-11 באדר יושלם כבר העניין ב-11 בניסן. היינו, שעניינו של י"א ניסן יחול היום, ובבית המקדש השלישי ייבנה היום. So also here we can see those two lines, 2 points. That for one side we are really yearning for months of Nisan to come as soon as possible to Yud Aleph Nisan, but from the other side the Rebbe is davening, we shouldn't have to wait 2 months, but it's already should happen Yud Aleph Adar, the Inyan of Yud Aleph Nisan of building third Beis Hamikdash already today. ג' כאן ה-third example, ועל פי דברים אלו אפשר להבין גם את דבריו בסיום שיחת שבת משפטים תשנ"ב, שגם שם אפשר למצוא לשונות על דרך הנ"ל. So according to that, we can understand also what the Rebbe said at the end of the Sikha of Shabbos Parshas Mishpatim, that also over there we can explain the different words that the Rebbe said with those 2 lines, 2 ways. אף שבשבת מברכים הכריזו על פי תורה שראש חודש אדר ראשון ביום השלישי, הרי ייתכן שהסנהדרין ישנו ויקבעו שיהיה רק אדר אחד זה, ויהיה סמוך לניסן. הוא מוסיף בהערה, ולהעיר שייתכן קידוש חודשים על פי הראייה על ידי הסנהדרין, גם לפני ביאת משיח צדקנו. So the Rebbe said that now, even though they announced that it will be Rosh Chodesh Adar, the first Adar will be Tuesday. So the Rebbe said, but it can happen that already the Sanhedrin will be then, and they will change. It should be only 1 Adar, not 2 Adars. And then this Adar will be the one that is next to Nisan. We should be next to Nisan. And at the bottom of the Ha'os, the Rebbe says that it's possible that Kiddush HaChodoshim, that to make Chodoshim through Sanhedrin, can even happen before Mashiach comes. הרי לנו לא רק תשוקה וגעגועים לחודש ניסן, אלא רעיון מעשי כיצד אפשר לקצר את מרחק הזמן ולהגיע לחודש ניסן כמה שיותר מהר. So here we can see it's only not the yearning coming to month of Nisan, but the Rebbe gives an actual idea how we can shorten the time between the month of first Adar to Nisan and to come as closer and sooner to the month of Nisan.
Right. So in short, we're basically saying that even though the Rebbe would point out that there are significant times that are the appropriate times for Mashiach to come, like the month of Nisan, or the Rebbe said Tinose, at the same time the Rebbe said that's a very auspicious time, there was still always a connection, but Chas v'shalom, we should have to wait till then. It can happen right now also. And the Rebbe would find a way of how it could happen even right now. Okay. So again, we're seeing these 2 sides of, on one hand, we've got the revelations already that have happened, that, like we said, the Bias Mashiach, but his Galus we're still waiting for. And that's why we still have that God going for his Galus Mashiach. All right. Our next bit, Moshiach והולך, continue, please.
Okay, מוסיף והולך. בהמשך למבואר בשני הפרקים האחרונים, אודות התגלות משיח בדור האחרון ובתקופה האחרונה, יש להעיר על סדר של מוסיף והולך, שאפשר לראות בדברי הרבי בעניין זה. So according to what we explained in the 2 last chapters about the revelation of Mashiach in the last generation, in the last time, so we can also see something interesting about the way of Moshiach v'holech. It continues and gets growing more, that we can see in the Rebbe's sichas about this. The
Rebbe is constantly, in other words, the Rebbe is constantly adding, right? It's like there's progress. The Rebbe is constantly moving us closer and closer and adding to what he said in the sichos before.
ובהמשך לענל, שבתחילת שנת תנעשה, הרבי התחיל לפרש את המדרש אודות שעה שמלך המשיח בא, בפירוש המתאים להווה, שמזה כבר אפשר להביש בדרך של מבין דבר מתוך דבר, שכעת זהו הזמן של גילוי משיח. הרבי לא אומר זאת במפורש. So we spoke about it at the beginning of the Shnat Tinasa. The Rebbe spoke about the Midrash of the time when Mashiach is coming. That we explained it then that it's talking about the present. And from there we can understand in a way that we understand one thing from another thing, that now is really the time of revelation of Mashiach. But the Rebbe didn't say it explicitly. בהמשך החורף, הרבי אומר בצורה ישירה יותר, שהמינוי לדוד מלכה משיחה הרי כבר היה. והדרך זה באמצע הקיץ, עומדים כבר בשעה שמלך המשיח בא. הנה זה משיח בא, הוא כבר בא. מראים באצבע שהנה זה מלך המשיח. אך עדיין, בכל זה, הרבי מדבר על משיח עלום שם, מבלי לקשר זאת לזהות מסוימת. So the continuation of the winter, the Rebbe said it more explicitly, and he said that already we ordained, yeah, that's the word maybe, we said already the ordination of Melech HaMashiach already happened. And also in the summer, the Rebbe said that we are standing in a time that Mashiach already came, and he came already, and he already came. And also that we are showing with the finger that here is the Mashiach. But in all those expressions, the Rebbe spoke about a Mashiach without a certain identity. He didn't connect it to a certain identity. מוסיף על זה בתחילת חורף תשנ"ו, so he added in the beginning of the winter, כשהרבי מדבר בצורה ישירה פעם אחר פעם אודות נשיא דורנו, השליח היחיד שבדורנו, המשיח היחיד שבדורנו. And then the Rebbe added, and he spoke more direct again and again, time after time, about the נשיא הדור, the only שליח of our generation, and the only משיח of our generation. אך גם אז, הרבי כדרכו, מייחס את נשיאות דורנו לאדמו"ר הריי"צ, ובמילא גם התואר המשיח היחיד שבדורנו מכוון כלפיו. But also then the Rebbe, as usual, speaks about, he refers the Nesias of our generation to the Frierdiker Rebbe. And that's why also when he speaks about the Mashiach, the only Mashiach of our generation, he means it to the Frierdiker Rebbe. הוא מוסיף על זה בחודשים שבט אדר תשנ"ו, כשהרבי מדבר מפורשות על מנחם שמו, הממשיך את נשיאותו של אדמו"ר הריי"צ בדורנו זה. But he's adding to it more even in the month of Adar and Shvat and Adar base, when the Rebbe spoke explicitly about Menachem Shmo, that he is the one who continues the generation, the Nesius of the Frierdiker Rebbe in our generation.
And that is the end of our Iyunim. So to clarify, what do we see? There's a number of things that the Rebbe, even though we keep saying from the beginning of the Rebbe's Nesias, the Rebbe was trying to bring us to this realization, to this understanding of what we mean when we say that we're Dar Shvi and it's our job to bring Mashiach, and all along starting all those pu'ulos, because it was very clear looking back that in that first mimer, Bas Lagani, in the sense that Rebbe already was obvious that Rebbe was taking that responsibility as Dar Shvi to do the pu'ulos, to bring the Gula. And slowly was trying to bring us toward that. So in Aleph Nun Beis, we started seeing more of that, the Bias Mashiach, the Rebbe explaining the Medrash, the Mashiach is here, the Higiyas Ma'an Gulaschem, the Pesuras HaGeula, as we see it in the Midrashim and the Chazal. But the idea of Pesuras HaGeula and the Nevuah that can happen before Mashiach comes is not yet the Geula Shlema. So on the one hand, the Rebbe, we find the Sichos talking in present tense, Mashiach is here, but that's Bias Mashiach, right? The fact that we can identify Mashiach, and we have the Pesuras HaGeula, and we know that now is the time, and all the signs are done, and the Nitzutzos have already been done, all of that's done. That's the Bias Mashiach. But the Geula Shlema is the Hiskalos of Mashiach. And that, it's not just Arishal Mashiach, it's not just the light that we set out, the Pu'ulayt that we can see Mashiach doing to bring the Geula and to fulfill the things that the Rambam said Mashiach is going to do. But there's still, at the very same time, that yearning that we have to be able to show, to see the Hisgalus, which is Mashiach Vadai. And for that, we're still waiting. We're still waiting, like we said last time, for the tzvi of Mashiach is like the deer that comes and hides and then will come again. So I think that given that we only have a few minutes left, I think we'll begin next. So what are we doing next week, actually? Let's talk about this first. We can continue. Just going to stop.